All right, that hot D. We got House of the Dragon, episode 7. Felicity, let me know what you think.
I loved it.
I loved it too.
I mean, there's definitely parts of it that I loved more than others, but there was a lot that happened in this. It wasn't a perfect episode by any means, but even when it's flawed, Hot D is still great.
Hot D is still hot. Yeah, I every single I don't understand how from episode 1 Hot D has been consistently really good and they continued that streak this week. Uh it keeps on getting spicier, so we'll get into it all. But yeah, I enjoyed this a lot, and there was a lot that happened.
Yeah, we start off with the funeral for Lena, and you know, Corliss, his brother, is the one that gives I guess you could call it a eulogy for Lena. And he takes the opportunity to basically point out that, there's some bastards in the family, that blood isn't as thick as it should be, which is kind of rude. And he even gets a laugh out of Damon because Damon's like, really? You're
Yeah.
really gonna do this right now? Yeah, and it's just an awkward. Everything is just so awkward in this episode. Nobody wants to be there. A lot of people want to be, somewhere else mourning, their father. Jace and Luke, they want to be at Harrenhal mourning, Harwin Strong, since we know that he was killed in that last episode.
Mhm.
But Rhaenyra has to rein him in and says, "Look, we can't do this right now. You need to go show some respect to the two girls that lost their mother." And that happens, but it's still very uncomfortable because everybody's giving each other the side eye.
Mhm.
We know you guys are bastards.
That's actually said. Oh my goodness. Yeah, most
Yeah,
awkward.
yeah, and these kids, these poor little kids, are just they're just weighed down by the stuff that's happening with
They're
the
going through it.
adults. Yeah, and it affects their relationships with each other. So we get to see that a little bit later.
Yeah.
But where you stop, that was an interesting spot where Viserys is showing a little bit of loss of mental clarity. He accidentally
Yeah.
calls Alicent Emma.
Honestly, that's what she deserves.
Oh, well, I mean, at this point, I think she's got to know that he still has a lot of love in his heart for Emma, even though
Yeah.
she's dead and she's, his new wife. But yeah, that was kind of a little bit of a wake up call, and she's
Oopsies.
obviously very embarrassed. Um, Starting to get dark. How did you feel about that? The use of the filters. How did you feel
Oh
about
my
that?
god. It was like I had my brightness up all the way. That was a little bit hard to see, but I got over it. It is what it is. Uh, but yeah, especially on the beach, I was like, oh my god, who are these people?
Well, were there any moments up until this point that stood out to you?
I just loved seeing the dynamics of all of these characters, especially in this grieving process, like who's showing their respects just to like politically, and Otto is back, which like okay, sure. I'm sure that that was Allison's doing to get more people on her side, but that's an interesting comeback for him. This is near the end of the episode, but when she had her little outburst, he was like, "I've never seen you like that." Like he was proud of her, and I was like, "Of fucking course you are."
This is
So
what he's raised her up to be. I mean, there you see it all throughout this show so far, how what the parents have done has affected the kids, and when those kids are raising their own kids, how it transfers through the
yeah,
generations. So the storytelling with that is definitely great in this show. But yeah, also Kristen Cole happens to mention that Laris has been staring at the Queen quite a bit.
Oh my
Creepy
god.
guy. So what do you have? What do you think about that?
Yeah, and then at the end, he was basically just like, "I'll do anything for you." Like he offers up everything. So I mean, it's good that that she has him in her corner, but he's a little bit too much.
Yeah, I really kind of felt like they dropped his character down a level for me with this part because I was all for him being the behind the scenes menace,
Mhm.
but now they're making him look like a simp, and it's just like really, you know, is that what's really about? And it may not really be about that. It may be that he's just putting on a show, but that remains to be seen. Do we want to talk about the whole getting it on with with Rhaenyra and Damon
Oh my
in the
god, Daddy
dark?
Damon strikes again.
Uncle Daddy, yeah. So yeah, basically Rhaenyra propositions him. Yeah, she's mad because of what happened. Obviously, the last time they saw each other, he left her in a brothel
Yeah.
and walked away. And then he got married and was gone for all this time. And she got married, and obviously we know how things are going with Lenore. She had to have 3 kids with another man. And actually in this show, in this episode, they did say that they did try,
Yeah.
but I'm not buying it. Okay. I'm just not buying it. I am sorry. But whatever. The writers did their job. They acknowledged it because I'm sure they knew that people were gonna, have issues there. But um yeah, so things aren't going great with Lanor. Uh, he's really upset about Lena right now, probably rethinking his own life and, wondering, what he's gonna do now.
Mhm.
But Rhaenyra shoots her shot with Damon,
She's got
and
other things on her mind.
yep, she wants him. She wants to be with him. She wants to be married to him, but there's an obstacle. But we could save that one for a little bit.
Mhm.
How did you feel about um, the Vagar claiming by Aemond?
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, like they showed him going through the sand, and I was like, "Oh shit, he's gonna find Rhaenyra and Daemon." That's what I thought they were leading to, but no, they continue his storyline from last episode, and that's a huge freaking dragon. And at first he's like, "No," but then the scene where he actually rides Vagar was so cool. Like, oh, did that really really well. He's still a little bitch, a little bit of a dick when he comes back, especially. But he got a fair trade off, an eye for a dragon, and it was like the biggest dragon. So really cool scene. I'm excited to see where this plays out.
Yeah, actually, I really like this scene. I think it was one of my favorite dragon scenes
Yeah.
of all, of this show and of Got, because I really felt like I related to this kid for some reason. They really got me.
Oh.
He was bullied. They gave him the pink dread for, his dragon, since he hadn't claimed a dragon up until that point.
Hmm.
And he was like, look, he just made it his mission. I'm going to claim this dragon. And he did it. I'm sure he was scared shitless, but he went through with it, and Vagar tested him, and he passed it. So they're together, dragon rider and dragon. I didn't really have the whole "oh, you stole it" thing, because for me it feels like it shouldn't be that easy to claim a dragon. There's got to be some sort of work that goes into it.
Yeah.
Uh, I understood that the little girl, and I can't remember whether it's Baylor or Reina, that didn't have the dragon, wanted to claim her mother's dragon. I totally get that, but you know, it's not even that simple. She could have attempted it and still not been able to claim Vagar. So you know, I was totally fine with the way that went. Yeah, they were
Yeah.
assholes to each other later, because you know, he was riding around on that big ass dragon and he was feeling himself. He felt like he had some of that big dick energy. That's what that was after that
Big
dragon
dragon
ride.
energy.
Yeah, he said a bunch of shit. You know, he called the Luke and Jace bastards. And you know, he talked a little shit to Bela and Reyna about their mom dying. But I mean, these are all still kids carrying
Mhm.
around the shit that the parents have put on them. It's all in the parents. Where the hell were the parents? You know where they were? You know
Well, we
where
know
the
where
parents were? Those
they were
parents were
having
out
their
on the
own fun.
beach. Yeah, parents were out on the beach. Or, you know, in Amon's case, we don't know where Allison and Viserys were. Viserys, I'm sure he was laid up in his bed because he's
He was
sickly.
sleeping.
But I wonder what Allison was doing, because you know who was supposed to be on watch? It was supposed to be Sir Kristen Cole that was on
True.
watch. So, you know, where were, you know, the adults that were supposed to be watching out for these kids?
Ooh.
So yeah, that I think that plays up into this as well. So I don't really blame the kids for their actions. I really blame the adults for, you know, letting this get out of hand. I mean, because we did see the hand, Otto, he grabbed Aegon. He found him drunk somewhere
Yeah.
outside and he kicked him and he, you know, brought him back into Driftmark, or High Tide, actually. Uh, but he didn't care about Aemon. He left him to his own devices. So the adults were really at fault in this situation.
Yeah, and especially you do just see the adults rivalries come into play through their children because that's what they've kind of conditioned their children to think. And it was totally understandable this whole situation. Yeah, the adults aren't really acting like adults right now. They're still all dramatic horny teenagers.
Yeah, and then of course after this we get to the meatiest part probably.
Yeah.
You know, where they're in the hall and everybody's pissed off because one of these kids lost a fucking eye after this fight. And you know, Alicent demands that Luke loses an eye as well, but he gets to choose which eye, which is not the it didn't happen that way for Amon. So, but she asked Kristen to take Luke's eye, and
Yeah.
Luke is or Kristen is like, yeah, I know I'm sworn to you, but I'm sworn to protect you, not be your enforcer.
So
So
that
he
that
was
made me respect him a little bit more.
Well, I mean, you know, I know you remember what I was saying earlier. I wonder if there's some undercover stuff happening, you know,
True.
between those two, and I wonder if maybe even Harold Westerling suspects it as well, because he did give him a couple looks during the this scene here.
Mhm.
But yeah, the king is just beside himself. He's like, look, who did you hear these rumors from about, you know,
Oh
these
my
kids
god.
being bastards? And Amon looks at his mom, but he accuses his brother to save his mom, probably not to
Yeah.
embarrass her. And then he goes to Aegon and says, who did you hear this from? And Aegon says, it's obvious. We can all see it. Everybody knows. The room goes quiet for a while. And it's like, okay, well, I don't care what anybody says. If anybody says this bullshit, their tongues are getting cut out. And of course, Allison is not satisfied with that. So
No.
she grabs that dagger off of Viserys and just goes straight to get that eye off of Lucerys herself, except Rhaenyra steps in, and I think that's an acceptable exchange. If she could have got an eye from Rhaenyra, I think she would have been fine with that. But that's not what happens. She just ends up
No.
looking like a crazy bitch in this episode. So, did you have
Yeah.
any thoughts on anything that was going down at the same time?
Oh my god, it's so juicy. I liked Rainier's line. I don't remember exactly what it was, but she was basically like, "Now everyone sees you as you are," and she gets a little cut, but it's nothing too serious. Well, they didn't make it seem too serious or anything. So that was just such an image to see, like Alicent just holding the knife and everyone being like, "Oh my god!" And especially like this shot where you see everyone on like all the two opposing sides. The
Yeah, the
green
greens
and
and the blacks. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Alicent realized that, she looked crazy, but like you said, Otto was proud of her because he didn't know she had that, type of fight, in her.
Mhm.
We also get to Damon and Rhaenyra again because Rhaenyra decides, okay, well, we're going to get married. We're going to get married, but I can't marry you. I'm already married. So we need to come up with a plan to fix that.
That they do.
Now, were you like I was, and were you thinking, damn, they really are going to murder Lador? Uh, were you thinking that when they were talking?
Yeah, up until that last second where you see him, which, like, oh, that made me feel so good. I'm so glad he got out of this freaking family. He's living his best life now. Yeah, good for him. Honestly, they should all do that. And I didn't even realize until I rewatched the episode that they actually showed the body that Damon got, so that it was burned, so that everyone thought that it was Leonora. But damn, like I literally thought, well, you see this scene where he commits himself to, yeah, back to their marriage and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And last episode, Rhaenyra was like, "No, I command you to stay." And now, I mean, she's like, "Well, this is how you can serve me best," and it's a win-win for them. The rest of the kingdom doesn't know what happened, so rolling with a little bit of fear. They're not sure what happened. It looks a little bit fishy. Definitely looks not great that they all got married, that Damon and Rhaenyra got married right after both of their spouses died. But you got to rule through intimidation sometimes, I guess. So I did not expect us to see that this episode, the very end of the episode. I don't think the kids did either. They did not look very happy. But that's how it went down. So
Yeah, that's a meme now. Because I even retweeted it. Because it's like, okay, our mom just died and now you're marrying our aunt.
yeah.
And the boys are like, our father
They just
just
lost
died
both their
and now
dads.
yeah, it's just like, damn, what the fuck? So it's
Yeah.
just a crazy ass family. But I did like I thought that their ceremony, I liked it. It was, yeah, it was weird. They were cutting
Yeah.
themselves and stuff, and blood, sharing blood, and with Dragonstone, they were cutting themselves. So yeah, it was weird, but I liked it. They just basically said, "Look, we need to be together. We can be good allies during this time in the war, basically against the Greens."
Mhm.
So he is right now the type of husband that she needs.
Oh, for sure. And I think that we've seen chill Damon for the past two episodes, or he's just been reading his books. He's been like standing at this side of the room, just leaning and chilling. But I think that going forward, we'll see a little bit more of the Damon that we saw the first few episodes, who's super ambitious and cunning, and we'll see his schemes. Hopefully, they'll play out a little bit better than they had in the past. But I'm excited to get good old Damon back.
Right. And I am. excited to see what happens with Amond, because I really do feel a little bit closer to the character after this episode and seeing him claim Vagar.
Hmm.
I haven't read the book, but I've heard some, crazy stuff. But Damon's done some crazy stuff, and I'm still liking his character. So we'll have to see if I'll still be on that train for that character.
We certainly will, yeah. Any last thoughts for the episode?
Great episode. Can't wait for the next episode, episode 8.
Me too. I usually watch the previews, but for episode 8, I haven't just because I want to go in blind. So I'm super excited to see what they have in store, and I'm sure it's going to be great.
Yeah, that's probably a smart move. You might want to stay off the internet too.
True, true. Well, everyone be sure to comment and let us know what you thought of this episode. And I mean, even if you spoil the preview for me, let us know what you expect to see in the next episode, as well as like and subscribe. And yeah, thanks for joining.
Bye bye.